Cage Minds, Micah Frankel, joined by the always energetic Vanessa Demopoulos. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing so awesome. Thanks for having me today.
Man, it could be the gloomiest day outside, and you would never know it from talking to Vanessa, right?
I do like to keep my happy levels up.
Heading into LFA 81. It's been a while since we've talked to you. Been a while since you've been in action. How are you doing?
Life has just been fucking awesome. I mean, I have to reflect on how dope it is because I'm literally getting to live my dreams and make them all come true. You know, I live in California. I'm working in Vegas, and I'm getting to go to the beach in between training. Just fucking keeping active always. I actually just took I took second in the world. Let me just go back a second. Sorry, I just got done running. I took second in the world for jiu-jitsu at brown belt. And that just happened, I'd say 3 weeks ago.
So for everybody that doesn't fully understand, how long of a weekend, how many matches is that competition to win it?
So jiu-jitsu for the world is everyone is gunning for blood. You know, we're not talking about the local tournaments, which, those matter, not taken away from anything. But I mean, when you're walking into the world, it's every single person there is out to break one of your limbs. They're gunning for you. So it's not like an MMA fight where it's one person, you know who you're fighting, and you know that it's going to be, exactly 3 rounds. It's you're going against 16 people. In my case, there was 6 people in my division. And you're grappling for 7 minutes against very skilled. These people train this exact martial art all day long, and they dedicate themselves to that skill set. And that's what the world is, is going out there and doing that. So for me to go out and take second in the world at brown belt, which is a very high level, black is the only way to go. So it's that was a huge accomplishment.
Just in your martial arts career, where does this stack up? How big of an accomplishment is winning worlds at brown belt for you?
Oh my gosh. I'd definitely say it's probably up there, I won the Pan Ams twice, in the gi and without the gi. And then I also took third in the World Pro in Abu Dhabi. So in the gi. So that was also a huge accomplishment because they flew me out there to Abu Dhabi to fight in the World Pro. But I mean, taking second at brown belt worlds, I'm mind blown. The fact that it's I used to compete in jiu-jitsu so often, and then I took that time away from it just to focus on MMA. So to walk back into jiu-jitsu and have elevated myself, not only just done well, but elevated, it was awesome.
And again, people focus on jiu-jitsu specifically and extensively, and you're so diverse with MMA, with dancing, with all your other endeavors. What does that mean to you to be able to stack yourself up against people that are exclusively good in this sport, that with you diversifying yourself so much, you're right there at best in the world?
Yeah, it's I'm impressed. Forget anyone else's opinion. It's I can't believe that even, to stay so niche, because I really love it, and I think that's the difference with doing all of these things. It doesn't feel like a lot to me because I really passionately love jiu-jitsu. I passionately love fighting. So whatever I happen to be doing, whatever the task is that's in front of me, it's I get to give that my heart, and my focus. And I don't necessarily believe that it's, people who are training 17 million hours a day, but it's how much attention are you giving to the training that you're doing? And that's what really makes the difference, you know, like, fuck, I'm so proud. I'm so happy, you know, to be able to do what I love every day.
Was there any feeling of, we'll look at other sports, even like basketball, and a shooter can't miss. Did you feel like during the competition that you were in a different zone, or did you just feel that comfortable? What was it like?
Yeah, I felt comfortable because it was almost kind of nice for me to go out there because the pressure was off. You know, it's like, I remember before when jiu-jitsu was my whole life, you know, I would eat, sleep, breathe, and drink jiu-jitsu. I was training jiu-jitsu specific in the gi and without the gi like 4 times a day. So it's like when I would step out to something like the Pan Ams or the Worlds, it's like that was my whole fucking world. Like I couldn't lose. Like my coach would be so mad and disappointed I couldn't do that. So now walking out there, it's like, you know, I felt like I was kind of alone, you know, like I did have my coach Jiva from One Jiu-Jitsu corner me, but I really didn't know if anyone was going to be able to corner me, you know, like I'm an MMA fighter now, like nobody expects anything of me, even going out there to compete, like it was something I wanted to do, it was for me, so it's like, I got to just love the moment, and it was also a comfort zone where it's like, man, I've competed at all of the top tournaments in the world for so long that, like, I've been here. I live here. This is my, you know, this is my place. I'm home here. So it did. It felt so good going out, you know. Yeah, I felt comfortable.
How different did that feel, returning to the tournament format, returning to that where everything is going on, where there's so many different matchups, where you're used to MMA kind of being on that singular stage?
It didn't, you know, it felt normal for me, like, because I've competed in jiu-jitsu so much, it did feel very comfortable. I'm like, yes, like, I've been here 100 times. You know, it wasn't like, I would assume a normal MMA person walking into a jiu-jitsu tournament would feel really out of place because there is so much distraction at a tournament. But, man, I was right at home. I was in my fucking zone. I was loving life.
I've also seen recently, I believe you were part of a charity event. You did some ring girl work.
Oh my gosh, yes, I got to be a ring girl. That was amazing for Smash Global. And that was so much fun. You know, they were like, oh, like, have you ever been in a ring before? I'm like, heck yes, I'm just usually punching people in the face. That was so much fun. I loved that.
And it looked like it was a special charity event?
Absolutely, yeah. They were, you know, smashing for the troops. So it was a huge PTSD awareness. And the charity event, it was so fascinating because it was a black tie event. So you show up and, you know, it was red carpet and everyone's having, like, you know, a 5-star meal and you're sitting down and you're eating at these, like, tables, you know, dining tables, and then there's a cage. And, like, it was a real sanctioned professional MMA fight that were going on, you know, at a red carpet dinner. Like, it was so fascinating to be a part of that. It almost felt like I was a part of history, to be honest. It was really, really cool.
And honestly, with the dress and high heels, how hard is it walking in, out, and around a cage?
Well, everybody knows I'm no stranger to a pair of high heels. It was actually pretty cool, you know, to be in the cage on the other side of the fence. So I just had to make sure I was walking on my tiptoes. You know, I didn't want to, like, poke a hole in the canvas or something with my high heels on.
How hard of a night is that for you? How much does that get you going, rather wanting to be in there competing because you're already so close to the action?
Yeah, it was, it's like, man, like, I wish I was in there fighting myself, you know, like, I wish I was the one that was out there rocking it and, you know, throwing punches and doing all that. But it was very different to be able to be entertained but still be a part of the show. Like, I was really genuinely enjoying just watching the fights. As much as, like, before the show began, I'm like, man, I wish I was just fighting. Especially since I hadn't fought since the beginning of June, like, you do start kind of getting that itch. But it really was so pleasant to be able to just enjoy and be a ring girl and sit right there cage side, like, cheering people on. It was really cool. It was a cool experience.
From what you've been up to what's coming up, next is LFA 81 taking place on January 31st, right there in your new backyard in Costa Mesa, California. Gonna be taking on someone you know well, Loveth Young. What do you think of this matchup? Somebody you've trained with, I heard, right?
Woo! Man, I'm so pumped. Yeah, actually, Loveth and I did train together. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweet person. Like, I got no shit to talk about her. But, I mean, I know she's been hungry to fight. Even when she came to train with us at Black House, she was, like, gunning. She was like, man, no one's fighting me. No one's stepping up. So, and she still hasn't fought. And so it was like, they asked me. They said that she was down. I'm like, all right, let's get it, We didn't train together that long. It's not like we know all of each other's tendencies.
Was it an awkward moment thinking about having to fight her, or that was easy to get past?
I mean, a little bit, just because I'm like, man, like, we did train together, but then I was like, she's willing to step up. The original opponent that I had also trained with. The original opponent, Floor, was from Team Oyama, which helped me to get ready for my last fight back in June. And also, I had helped Carla with her training camps. So it's like I was going over to Team Oyama, and I was rolling with my original opponent. Like, we knew each other as well. So when Loveth stepped up, it was like, okay, I was already past the whole, like, we've trained together thing, because I had literally just did it in the decision before, where I said yes. So, and I knew, it wasn't a personal thing. It's not like Loveth was like, oh, I want to fight Demopolous. Like, it's really like, I know, like, she needs to fight, Like, let's get it. Let's step on up and let's get after this shit. So that's more of how the decision kind of came about.
Is that something that surprised you, dealing with that kind of situation now, having moved from Ohio, where I don't think you were dealing with this, now to California?
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, I am going to be honest about that. Like, because in Ohio, everyone sticks very, very close to your gym. For example, I came from Ronin Training Center, where I had everything in one place. My striking, my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, like, they had, judo, they had literally everything. My strength and conditioning, everything was in one gym. I didn't have to go anywhere for anything. So it's like, I lived in that place. And then I come here to California, and there's so many different gyms, and everybody kind of just trains with each other. All of the coaches all know each other. And yeah, and it's like, when you're local, like, we all fight each other, and that's the way it is. Everyone knows each other, especially at the 115 division as a female. I'm sure with the guys it's a little bit different because there's more of them. But with the girls, it's like, out here, I feel like, we all do train together. And, because everyone's got their eyes gunning for the big shows. So it's like, you've got the larger vision at hand in your mind. But, so we do. We all train together. And that's the thing that I'm now running into, where it's like you're fighting people who you've trained with.
So safe to say, even go a step above that, coaching-wise, both corners are going to have a certain knowledge about both fighters.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a bigger deal, too. But, I mean, you hope that people have a good enough integrity to just kind of, like, understand what it is and, there's no sneakiness behind it. I mean, there's not a whole lot to hide either. Training is so much more different than it is fighting. It really is. Like, in the jiu-jitsu community, this is something that I'm very comfortable with. In the jiu-jitsu community, we all know each other. Like, personally, like, we're all friends, and then we fight each other. So, I guess it's something I'm a little bit more acclimated to, like from the MMA perspective, but man, it's just so different. Because when you're walking into that cage, it's blood,
Walking into that cage this time, having with the accomplishment that you did at Worlds, does that give you another level of confidence, not to mention coming off of wins?
Yeah! Absolutely it does. Man, it's like, I'm literally, my friend, my training partner, my teammate, Amanda Canuto just won Black Belt Worlds at Nogi. So it's like, and I mean, we gun for each other all day. Like, I'm literally getting to train with the best in caliber of all of the sports. Like, I don't feel like I have anything to really, truly fear at this point. And it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling because everyone sees me on social media. I'm always just, like, crazy and wild. And I may be freaking loud, but, man, I put my head down and I grind. And I work very, very hard with everything that I do. So there's a lot of confidence in that.
And how are you able to keep on that grind?
Love. I really have so much passion for it. I put up a funny meme the other day, and it was like this person just like looking with all of the stars in their eyes, and it says, when coach teaches a new technique and you get it and understand it. And it's like, man, I walk in every day with like a new excitement of like, ooh, what do I get to learn today? Like, what do I get to be better at? And there's just nothing, like, I've been fighting for 10 years. And for 10 years, every day that I walk into the gym, I get to learn something new. I get to get a little bit better at something, I get to feel that accomplishment. It's fucking awesome. Like, there's nothing more rewarding than, for me, than like, my coach showing me something, and then, like, I get to do it, and I get to see that look on their face of, like, man, like, she gets it, Like, that's cool for me. I love that. And I think that's what really, like, keeps us gunning, and keeps me happy every day.
And then last time in the cage, I got to ask, how satisfying was it a submission victory at LFA 69?
Especially against somebody who had won Worlds at, won the Nogi Worlds. That was awesome. Because, that girl knows jiu-jitsu. So it's like, at this point, like, I outboxed a boxer, and I out-jiu-jitsu'd a grappler. Like, it's dope, man. We're running.
Where does that put your expectations now?
I'm sorry?
Where does that put your expectations for what you can do, your abilities, your goals? Seeing seeing what you've been doing recently.
Honestly, I'm very much in love with the process, and I love fighting, so it's like, to walk in there with expectations, like, man, I got game plans, I know who I am, I'm extremely confident in my abilities, and that it'll show up. If I've done all the work, and which I do, it shows up, period. There's no reason for it not to. So it's like, I can expect whatever I want, but at the end of the day, like, there's nothing that's more true than actually putting it out there and just running for it. I expect to fucking win. How's that?
Right, and that's the expectation for LFA 81?
Absolutely, yes.
You know how tough Loveth is. How challenging this fight going to be?
I mean, Loveth has her skill sets. Like, there's nothing to look past with her. She's a gamer. I mean, I've seen her. I've seen her in the gym. I've trained with her. Like, she's game. She comes in. She's aggressive. She she digs it, you know, like she's passionate about what she does as well. So it's going to be a good fight, man. Fireworks.
Also, on that level of knowing each other, does that almost a great way to push you to train harder because you know what she's capable of? With some people, you're almost just having to imagine it, but with this fight, you're like, oh, I know.
I just don't think that there's a way I actually could train harder. Like, you know, it's funny. My coaches and I were talking about it. It's like, I could be getting ready for a UFC fight, and I'd be training just as hard as I'm training. Like, there is no, like, that's it. Like, I train my ass off in everything and every day.
Is there any having to pump the brakes and pull you back then?
Yeah, that's actually more of the problem. I need to be told to calm down. Literally the other day, it was my rest day, and I was gonna go do sprints on my rest day, and I told myself, I was like, chill out, psycho. Like, you have a full fucking plate tomorrow. Calm down. So that's definitely more of the thing where I do need to be told to chill out sometimes. There was something really important that I learned once where it's like, you know, when you walk in the cage, you want to give it everything you've got. You don't want to give it everything that you've got that's left over. But, like, you want to give it everything you've got, not everything you've got left. You know, like, you want to feel it. You want to walk in there and be ready. Can't always be tired all the time.
So is gym day or rest day more challenging for you?
Rest day is way more challenging. I don't know what sit down is, which is why I'm a writer, too. You know, thank goodness for dancing and writing, because it's like those are my times away from fighting that I still get to be active or artistic, you know, and really use that as an outlet.
Talking about being a writer, know that you already have one book out. Are you telling us there's plans for a second?
I am finished up writing my second book right now. It does need to go off to editing and publishing and all that, but yeah, I actually took time to write a second book, a second stripper Bible, which is an informative book. So it's more of like what people think the industry is, what it actually is. Like, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I debunk a lot of things, and I hold truth to a lot of things people think is true.
And still being a 3-sport athlete?
Definitely pole dancing, definitely fighting MMA, and obviously competing in jiu-jitsu in the gi, which is its own sport. So, yeah, definitely a 3-sport athlete. I've calmed down a lot on the, I was doing, like, ninja stuff, obstacle course racing. So, I'm more niched into martial arts, and that's been really refreshing for me. But, yeah, I am still a 3-sport athlete.
When doing the obstacle course training, did that become, like, almost too much specific training for itself, too?
Yeah, I tried to look at, because I didn't take the obstacle course very seriously. You know, like, it was something that I'm like, man, like, this is nice to stay active. It's active rest. I can do this in between my training, and it's still training. But, yeah, it's just, because I don't like doing things half-assed. I don't like doing anything half-assed. I'm either 100% obsessed with it, or I kind of don't really care to do it. So it's like I loved the OCR stuff, but I wasn't really in it the way that I wanted to be. So I just kind of left it aside.
All right. Well, busy and as happy as ever, Vanessa Demopoulos.
Woohoo!
Seriously, always great getting to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Micah, for your time, and it's always good to kind of, like, be on the mic and everything. No, you know, this is kind of the exciting process, too. Like, when I get to talk to you, it's like, woo, it's almost fight time. I mean, this is, 4 fights in the LFA now, and I think we've gotten to speak every time. You're, like, a part of my routine now. You're a part of my process.
Right, we know it's about a week out from fight night if I'm talking to Vanessa.
Yes.
Right there also, now that you've moved, you're not traveling as much for the fights, actually. How nice has that been?
Oh, yeah, that's a blessing to be able to be comfortable in my own bed and wake up completely refreshed, you know, get my own morning routine down, which it's like, there's nothing like being home. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm digging this. We can do this every time.
Awesome. Great getting to talk to you, Vanessa. Can you tell everybody, remind them how they can keep up with you on social media?
Absolutely. But before we do that, I'd like to thank my sponsors. And, huge shout out to Larry Flint's Hustler in Las Vegas that has been sponsoring me for this fight and encouraging me the whole way. And ATTC Fightwear, Elite Sports, Want versus Need, and, of course, my gym, Black House. What? Thanks you guys so much for always encouraging and sponsoring. Now, if you guys want to follow me, it's pretty fucking dope. And expect a good ride over at LilMonsterDemo.com. So I'm always .com. The fuck is that? Instagram, y'all. This is Instagram. Lil Monster Demo Instagram. I'm just always alive. I'm always doing stuff, and I like people along on the journey with me.
You guys get to see her in action again. LFA 81 UFC Fight Pass on the 31st at the end of the month. Vanessa, again, thank you for the time.
Micah, thank you so much for your